Hello?
What's up, y'all? What's good? Welcome to the What Up Though Show. It's your boy Dame D, and we are back with another one. Today, I have a special guest that's going to be joining me in this conversation. I'll allow him to go ahead and introduce himself to the show.
What up? What up, though? It's Real Talk with Big Dave.
What up, though, Big Dave? Okay, thanks again, man, for joining the show. I want to it's freestyle Friday too, and I forgot to say that. It's freestyle Friday. We're just gonna be chopping it up. We have a few things that we're gonna be talking about. We are live and we are broadcasting from Facebook and YouTube, and I believe Instagram Live. So we on all three. Big Dave, what's going on, man? How your Friday been going?
Oh, man, it's been all right. Just a little exhausted. Got a
Okay,
whole lot.
okay, man. You go ahead. I'm listening.
I said, just got a whole lot of stuff going on. That's all. Getting things in order.
Okay,
That's all.
okay, man. Well, look, man, I want to wish you again a happy birthday. We celebrated Real Talk with Big Dave's birthday last week. You know what I mean? We had a good time. Out there, he's been celebrating his birthday all week, man. So I just want to let everybody out there, all the subscribers, make sure that you go over there and subscribe to his channel. That would be a really good birthday gift for him. Dave, let everybody know where to go and subscribe to your channel with and give you a good birthday, good birthday gift.
YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Real Talk with WIT Big Dave. And on Facebook, Big Dave Crawford.
Okay, there we go. There we go. Man, it's Friday. It's the end of the work week, man. And it's just Freestyle Friday. We're gonna be chopping it up. I do have a few things that I want to talk about. I want to talk about this incident that's been talked about, throughout the country this week. You had an incident where, a black officer went into Chick-fil-A with his colleagues who were white. It was a total of four of them, three white officers and one black. And the white officers' meals were offered to them for free. When it was time for the black officer, to come up, he was not offered for his meal to be paid. He was not offered for his meal to be free. He had to pay for his meal. So I have audio of the incident that I'm getting ready to play for a second. And then once we're done with that, we'll get back to our commentary. So give me 1 second. I have everything queued up and I'm going to go in and let you guys hear, the situation. So before I play that, Big Dave, tell me what you think about that situation. If you were a cop and you were singled out in that situation, how would that make you feel, or how would you handle that situation?
Um, Really, I wouldn't even want to deal with the white colleagues because they fake. I wouldn't even want to deal with them. I wouldn't even want to be assigned with them anymore. They shouldn't have asked him. Did they want him to? I mean, them to say something in his behalf? They shouldn't have had to ask, because they should have told her right then and there. If he's not getting his for free, we're going to pay for ours also. They supposed to be blue. They supposed to be blue, and they supposed to be a brotherhood. But when it comes to a black, it's not a brotherhood. So they're
Right.
not. They're fake.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and play the video and let everybody hear it, and then we'll get back and to the rest of our commentary. So here we go. It's not video, it's just it's not video, it's just audio. So here we go.
Chick-fil-A decided to give all of the white cops
And it looked like
a
you
free meal,
just went out, Dave,
but the
like you
black
went dark.
colleague cop
Oh,
had to pay for his. You would say there's no way that a major
shit.
company like Chick-fil-A would ever do something so, well, let's just say visually extreme and egregious. Put him up, cool man. He's a police officer. According to Atlanta Black Star, Tracy Reed, a black police officer, said his visit to a local Chick-fil-A left him feeling embarrassed and humiliated after his three white colleagues were all given free breakfast while he was left to pay for his meal. Reed, a police officer in Clover, South Carolina, said he and his partners They were all in uniform. They went to get breakfast at a Chick-fil-A in Augusta. This was a few weeks ago. They were on a work trip together on an assignment. Reed said it's normal for restaurant chains to offer police officers and other first responders complimentary meals as a gesture of appreciation for their service. However, while they were in the line, the staff members only offered
Viagra and Cialis. They increase.
Hold on, let me skip this. So give me 1 second. The commercial came up. Here we go.
to Reed's 3 white partners. But Reed had to pay for his food at the register. Quote, we came in together, same uniform, stood in line. There was never a time we were not together while standing in line, Reed's colleague, Clover Police Sergeant Jay Gordon told WSOC TV. Before I continue, you should not have to list these other things. He's in uniform. You're giving free breakfast to people in uniform this morning, obviously. He's one of them. Ironically, he happens to be standing next to them, and he happens to be traveling with them. But he's in uniform. Another of Reed's colleagues, who also witnessed the same exact thing, witnessed the transaction, said he was angered. He was angered by the restaurant's poor treatment and service to Mr. Reed. This is y'all witness testimony. He said he had to pay for his meal and it infuriated me, said Detective Thomas Barnett. And I said, quote, you want me to go say something? End quote. He was like, no, I don't want you to cause a scene. But I could tell the way he looked. He just looked at his plate. He looked sad and humiliated. That made me really mad. I was kind of humiliated and embarrassed, at the whole situation. It seemed like it was a racial issue to me, Reed said. Now, before I continue about Reed's letter to Chick-fil-A corporate, understand this is not about a meal. This has nothing to do with breakfast. He would have been just as happy to pay if the other cops paid or received a 50% discount, if the other officers received a 50% discount, whatever it may be. He would have been happy with understanding that society has evolved to a place where they could actually see him for the man he has decided to become rather than the color of his epidermis. So he feels this way. Number one, it has happened at his job. I know he's at Chick-fil-A, but he's on duty. It has happened at his job. It happened in front of his colleagues. And to be practical, because he's not corrupt, he's powerless to really do much about it. It is their decision. Now, if he was corrupt, he has other options that we would completely disagree with.
Okay, and I'm gonna go in and stop it right there, Dave. So pretty much that was the logistics of what happened in that situation. So give me your thoughts, give me your opinion on that situation. That we have a few people in here watching. I need for you guys to like, comment, subscribe, and share. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. It helps the channel grow. And make sure that you like and you share. But Big Dave, you heard the video. Give me your thoughts on that. He was singled out. His colleagues were offered free meals, and he had to pay for his meal. So if you were put in that situation, give me your thoughts on how you would have handled that situation and how you think that officer felt, at that time.
Like I said, he probably was embarrassed, but it ain't nothing new. When you walking into any restaurant or anywhere that he goes with 3 white colleagues, I don't even know why they would put 1 black with 3 white officers anyway. And for the officer to say that he was furious about it, but I see they still took their free meals and didn't say, I don't want it. If he got to pay, we all pay. They supposed to be boys in blue. They supposed to be a brotherhood. When you're a police officers stick together, except for when you're black. So for
Exactly.
I wouldn't have felt good even being with them 3 white colleagues, and I'm the only black. I'm sorry, and I know you don't want to act like you don't want to be around white people when predominantly the police force is probably white. But that incident once again shows you how things are and gonna continue to be. Because if they was for him and they was really angry, like the one said, he would have said, "Listen, miss, we all are officers. That young man has his uniform on as well. If we all can't get a free meal, we won't. We'll all pay. No, thank you for the free meal." They took their damn free meal, but he just didn't want to say it. But he needed to come out and say it
Right.
that he's working for a racist police force, and he's around nothing but white people that don't like blacks. And that's just keep it real. That's real talk.
Bam, there we go. Hey, you hit it right on the nose, Big Dave. His colleagues, the other white officers, should have denied that meal. They always talk about this blue line, this blue wall or whatnot, how they stand together, but they did not stand with him, that day at Chick-fil-A. They were able to get their
No,
meals free, and he had to pay for his, it's just like you said. They should have rejected their meals if he could not have gotten his meal for free. So we have a few people watching. I definitely need you guys to comment. I would love to hear your comments and your opinion on this situation. The comment is open. If you guys want to come in, send me your email, put it in the DM, and you can come in and chop it up with us. But yeah, at the end of the day, Big Dave, they showed their cards, meaning the officers. They did not deny their meals. They made him feel some type of way by not standing up for that, for him, right there, right then and there. You know what I mean, Dave? So, and it just lets you know, man, what type of society that we're living in. We have to just be real with everything. And this is coming from Chick-fil-A, Big Dave. They're a Christian based group, who put themselves on, I'm not going to say, on this high pedal, but they pride themselves in doing things right, the Christian way, and they supposed to be God-fearing people. Chick-fil-A is, but that just showed you, and showed him, that this society that we live in, we're living in a racist society, and it's always going to be that way. We've had plenty of talks about this, Dave. Nothing has really changed since slavery. You know what I mean? Like far as just races, so they most of them, and I'm not going to say all, but most of them try to hide behind certain doors or certain things. But when situations like that come upon, because this is not the first time things like that happen at Chick-fil-A, Dave. You had incidents where people were coming through the drive-through and they were putting monkeys on their name and things like that. You know what I mean? And this is supposed to be, like I said, a Christian, based chain or whatnot, own company, I should say. They pride themselves in doing the things the right way. They're supposed to be God-fearing people, and things like this happen. So I have a few people that's watching. I need for you guys to, comment. Let me know what you think about this situation. Should black folks come together and just not go to Chick-fil-A at all anymore? Because of this incident. Do you think that's something that we need to, withdraw our money for Chick-fil-A from this incident, Dave?
Like most of us right now are not spending money in Target, and it's working. We got the chairman put out of the chair. It's working because blacks haven't been spending money at Target. So it can work at Chick-fil-A. I don't go to Chick-fil-A. And Chick-fil-A is good, but I've been to Chick-fil-A at the airport twice. That's it. I don't
And I'm
even
not gonna
not
lie,
at the
I go to
next
Chick-fil-A.
door.
It's very good, but I have not been since I've heard of this situation. But go ahead, Dave.
Well, I won't go. I don't need Chick-fil-A. I don't need them that bad. Because if they supposed to be a Christian-based company, that's a bunch of baloney. They ain't no Christian base. See, what they show you is human beings, regardless your religion or not, you known to do messed up things. And it's okay. Because if this is what's been going on for the longest, they've been writing monkey names and stuff. Why is blacks continue? Why, as a people, we see how we get treated and we keep giving these damn people our money?
Yeah, and I don't understand it, because like I said, those lines are still packed with black folks and Chick-fil-A lines, after this situation. We definitely need to do what happened to Target, in this situation, because like I said, this is the first time that Chick-fil-A had racist things that were going on with their customers. You know what I mean? Like I said, they were printing, how they'll print your name on the bag and they're supposed to say like "Real Talk with Big Dave" instead of something like that. It'll have monkeys on the bag. So and this was a few years ago, but yeah, it was blatant racist, a racist situation for that cop. I believe that him and his attorney put in a lawsuit from that situation. He was embarrassed, he was ashamed, and his officers did not stand up for him. Like you said, Dave, they should have denied their meal, and it just showed him what type of, people that he's working for, what type of community that he's trying to protect and serve.
So they think he's supposed to come back to work and be with them, on duty with them, and supposed to trust them. That's a bunch of bullshit. And they probably got with each other behind closed doors and laughed about it. They don't give a damn about his black ass. And I don't mean it that way, but that's how they looking at it. And
Hey
it
man,
too,
that's real talk. I mean, it is what it is,
yeah,
because he had to pay for his meal and they sat there and ate the
and
meal
watch
together
it.
while their meal was free and he paid for his meal. He was
They are, put it like this.
humiliated in front of his colleagues.
Put it like this. He's with 3 white colleagues. They go in Chick-fil-A that's known for these things. So it shouldn't be nothing. You should know that it's a possibility something is going to go wrong in here. Okay. And then number 2, as soon as she came over, they all were sitting at the same table. As soon as she
Right.
came, or wherever they were at, if they was in line, as soon as she said and seen them all an officer and said, "You guys can get your meals free," and then got to him and said, your meal is $6.99. Immediately, they were supposed to say, "Look, we are together.
Right.
If he has to pay, we deny that free meal and we will pay also." That would have made her probably get right. Or they could have just said, "You know what, we're gonna pass on Chick-fil-A altogether." Come on, bro. Or come
Hey,
on,
and you know what kills me, Dave? They always say, even with the police and just, any incident that goes on, with white and black people, with incidents, they always say, well, we'll have to retrain her or the police, like officers in a situation where something happened. They always use that as excuses, like, we'll have to retrain them. It was a part of the retraining situation, but, they show their true colors. They show who they are, as people, and us as blacks, we have to, when companies show their hand, we have to do our due diligence and withdraw our money from these type of companies, Big Dave.
hey, let's just keep it real. It was a fucking smoke screen. And these whiteys are gonna keep taking their white asses there, getting their free meals. And if I was him, I would put the whole force on blast along with Chick-fil-A.
Facts,
Because that had to be an embarrassing situation, which he should have been prepared for. If it had been me, I'd have been prepared. Because I would have
mm,
known something was going to go wrong. Because, like you said, this shit has been happening a lot. And then they think because you add Christian on the end, a Christian based company, that things don't supposed to go wrong. Well, shit, if you got white boys going in churches in South Carolina plotting and going there and kill 9 niggas, what you think they gonna do to a nigga? Chick-fil-A and all them motherfuckers around there they don't care about no niggas. Them white officers don't care about him, because if they did, they would have showed it, and they didn't.
Man, at all, and while we on that subject, man, I wanna, I did a video not maybe a couple of weeks ago. It was an incident where you had a black man that was on a new job that headed down to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and they found this man. Big Dave, you went out again, so you may have to go out and come back in. But they found
I
this
will
man again
just take
hanging
over.
from a tree. Go ahead, Big Dave. Say that again.
I said take over. I'll be right back in.
Okay, I'm gonna go in and chop, say this, and then when you come in, I'll reiterate it again. But yeah, you had a situation where you had a black man who was just starting a new job down in Albuquerque, New Mexico, that they found hanging. This was I believe the 4th or 5th black man that month, and it was the month of maybe you're starting in the beginning of October, and it was like the 5th black man that's been found hanging that month, and it's been going on all summer. I don't know if you guys have noticed what's been going on, but there's been a lot of black men being found hanging from trees, and when the investigation, okay, we got Big Dave coming back in. Here you go. Okay, Dave.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. So yeah,
My
I was
Wi-Fi
just
bars
and I'll start over.
going
It
down
was
for
a
some reason.
situation.
Lately, it's been doing that. Either my Ring cameras been going out some days. I'm gonna have to call the internet people on Monday morning and get them on top of it. They're gonna have to give me some money back because this has been acting up lately. Now let's
Right.
get back to it though.
Okay, no, I was just saying, it was a situation down
Hello.
in Albuquerque, New Mexico, where you had a black man who was going down there. He was just starting a new job venture, and they found him hanging from a tree. The police down there, they did their investigation, and it came back that it was that he committed suicide. There was no foul play. Like I was telling the people that's watching, this has been the 5th black man this month that they have found found hanging from a tree. And it's always coming back with the same thing. No foul play. And it was a suicide. My question to you, Dave, is this shit is very fishy to me. And what black man hangs themselves, after what our ancestors went through in slavery? You know what I mean? Black folks do not hang themselves, when they're committing suicide. So that's first and foremost. So I need you guys to comment down below. I definitely want to know you guys' opinion on this situation. You know what I mean? So like I said, man, we've done look like Dave went out. He'll be back in a second, but we've done multiple shows on this exact situation that we're talking about. It's just been a lot of black men coming up, especially down south, so you guys got to be careful when you're traveling, in situations like that. But yeah, it's been a lot of situations where you've been having black men coming up, hanging from trees, and they're ruling it suicides, Dave. So give me your opinion, give me your thoughts on that, on what you think this situation, is about.
Well, let's just let's get down to the meat. The only way this can be done, and the only way it can be possibly done, is the authorities is behind it. They just keep it real. Because
let me hit the thing. Hold on. And not to cut you off, but yeah, the authorities have to be involved in this situation. Like far as when they do their investigation and they're finding there's no foul play and it's coming back suicides, what have black men, what have you, besides the lynching that was going on back in slaveries and afterwards, when have anyone have heard of a black man literally committing suicide by hanging themselves from a tree. You know, we just did a show about a black man who was found hanging from a tree and his legs was broken. How do a motherfucker hang themselves from a tree and his limbs are broken? You know, but go ahead, Big Dave. I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's good. Good content. I love it. But at the end of the day, once again, these guys that they're pulling over, the authorities, and then they're putting their trucks in emergency, and then next thing you know, they come up missing. And then when they do the autopsy, you come to find out they got crushed skulls, broken bones in their body, bruises on their body. So what it leads to, I mean, so what's going on here, excuse me, I'm messing up on my words.
No,
But
you
what
good.
it leads to is they were beat before they got hung. So not only they beat them, they hung them right after they beat them. And so how you gonna say it's suicide? Like you said, the one guy had broke legs. How the hell they gonna put himself up that on the noose? And he got broke
And then
legs.
first and foremost, what black person you know that knows how to tie a noose properly, you know, to be able to hang themselves from a tree properly?
Man, most black folks can't even tie a tie.
Exactly.
Shit.
You know,
So
but
let
yeah, you
alone
know, so
tie
if
a damn
like at the
rope.
end of the day, you know, when I did that video, you know, at the end of last month when you know we had another situation, and forgive me, I don't know the names of that situation or the man who died in this situation. You know, normally I would have that, you know, but it's Freestyle Friday, so we're just talking about any and everything, and it's just this was a situation that came to my hand. You know, it's been going on a lot. You know, it's blatant, and if we don't see what's going on, you know, that's fucked up, you know, because it's a pattern, you know, it's the same pattern. They've been coming back suicides every time with no foul play, with no evidence. Come on, you know, if the authorities are not involved in that, you know, then what's going on, you know? And I need you guys' you know, opinion on that. I definitely want you guys to, you know, comment, you know, give me your thoughts, you know, let me know, is it me? Am I tripping? You know, because like I said, at the end of the day, what black man hangs themselves from a tree when they're committing suicide? You know, in a situation like that, you know, normally, you know, a motherfucker might, you know, end it with shooting blowing their brains out, you know, or taking a pill or something like that. You know what I mean? But you will never find a black man tying a noose or hanging himself from a tree. You know, and it's been going on all summer. You know, a lot of people who has not been really up on this or listening to it, you know, it's surprising to them, but it's not. You know, this has been going on. You know, this is a way that they're doing what they've been doing and just murdering motherfuckers under, you know, you know, the disguise of, you know, these gentlemen are committing suicide. You had two twins from North Carolina that had one, I believe, that went down to North Carolina, you know, and they were found murdered, hanging from trees. You know, so yeah, you know, just give me your opinion on all this, Dave. I don't mean to, you know, be over talking, but yeah, you know, this upsets me. This hurts me that, you know, more of our people has not, you know, made this I'm not going to say public, but been talking about this more, you know, and made this you know, an issue, you know, around the country.
Well, hey,
Sorry about that.
no, you ain't gotta apologize. I love the energy. I love the anger because every one of us should be outraged. And as long as we keep acting like howdy doody and okie dokie, it's gonna keep happening. Three peas in a pod. I mean, you know, we seeing it, you know. We too busy voting for motherfuckers that want us dead. We too busy kissing everybody's ass and acting like we're not all got. We are the chosen people. Our race
I can
makes
hear you,
all
Dave, but
races.
your video
That's
has
okay.
went out,
I'll
but you
fix
still
it.
can be heard.
I fix it
Okay.
because this is important. You know, our people are the chosen people. We built this country on our backs. We built this damn country, and people don't get it. We are Our race is the only race that can make all kinds of people.
All right.
People don't believe that. Our race is the only way we can make a motherfucker, dark-skinned motherfucker with blue and green eyes.
No, motherfuckers know that. They just try to ignore that.
You know
We
what I'm
are,
saying?
and you hitting it right on the nose, man. We are the only group of people that can,
That can
make
do these things.
make every color that there is, like far as just,
And
race.
we acting like we powerless. We acting like we can't do shit about this. We acting geeky. Or whenever somebody say some real shit, oh man, he acting too black. It's always some bullshit, and it's gonna keep happening to us until we wake up and see that this is for real. These motherfuckers are starting a race war, and they getting rid of us. They getting rid of us little by little, and we act like we don't see it.
See, and that's the words that I was looking for, Dave. People got to realize it's that's what's been going on. There's no way that you've been finding all these men hanging from trees, that's been on, and I'm not gonna say everyone, but majority of every last one of these guys were on new ventures in their lives, starting new careers and new jobs, so why would a man starting a new venture in his life, starting a new job that has family and kids to look for, all of a sudden commit suicide and then hang themselves from a tree?
It doesn't make sense, and it'll never make sense, and it ain't gonna never add up. As
Yeah,
long as they have more police officers, more judges, more district attorneys, because we don't vote for our constituents in our own state. See, the president is one thing, but they don't run the states. They do not run the states. And if people get out and vote for their mayors, vote for their district attorneys, vote for their governors, vote for all the power people that can make stuff happen in their state, they
right.
won't have to worry about that. See, but we always get these proud ass niggas, man. Fuck that, man. Voting don't happen. Well, if voting don't mean nothing and voting ain't doing nothing, why are they stopping? Why are they trying so hard to stop us from voting then?
No, that's facts, man. And only a
Duh.
dumb motherfucker would say that. And you hit it right on the nose, man. To be able to change anything, you have to be able to do it locally, within locally, like vote changing it with your local politicians, your mayor, and things like
District
that, your
attorneys,
judge,
all that.
things like that. Yeah,
The people that can change laws in your state.
right. Your
And you know what I'm
politicians.
saying?
Yeah, but man, and this is something, man, that we need to continue putting out there and talking about, Dave, because this is this has been an ongoing thing, for since the beginning of time, but it's just now really being publicized, through social media, because really the mainstream media does not publicize this. They don't put it out. You know what I mean? So it's black
Of
vloggers
course
and
they're not gonna put it
YouTube
out.
people like me that really puts things like this out, because the mainstream media won't put this information out, or won't talk
You
about it,
get
like how, like we're talking about it now.
you get a little too black and you start giving some real facts, your channel start to act up. It's everything. They own everything. But the thing is, why are we contributing? See, all we have to do, and a lot of blacks, they hear this shit all the time, but they think we full of shit when we talk about it. Just look at the shit with Target. It's working.
Yeah, it
It's
definitely worked.
working.
They fired the motherfucker who made those comments, and who had something to do with I believe, was it the removal of the DI?
Yeah, because they
Uh,
copying off, because that's what Trump and them want, and they following it. But at the end of the day, it is working. It is working. It's still ways to go. But see, that's our problem. We don't know how to strap up our boots and fight. We give up too damn easy. We just give up. Man, fuck it. Fuck it. That's just like reading is fundamental. It's all kinds of shit that show you that we invented the street light. We did the first open heart surgery. It's all kinds of evidence out there. Now they trying to wipe it out. That's what technology is about. But we too lazy to read. Every time we ready to put some shit together, we got to do the eye test. Oh man, I ain't got to read this shit, man. Fuck that. I can see exactly what to do. And then you build the shit. Next thing you know, you're missing 4 and 5 and 6 screws. And you saying, what them go to? They go to something, you dummy. Read. Pick up a book and read.
Yeah, but man, but yeah, Dave, and I agree with you 100%. We definitely have to, be able to educate ourselves and get ahead of, this situation, man. Because like I said, they're ahead of us. You're not finding white folks hanging from trees. Because if you did, it would be on the mainstream media. They would definitely be finding evidence, and finding the culprits who's been doing this. You know what I mean? And that's what and that's what fucks me up, Dave, over the situation. Every single man that they found hanging from a tree, there was no foul play, and they ruled it as a suicide. So that just should let you know. But yeah, man, it's Freestyle Friday. We have a few people here watching. I need for you guys to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Definitely comment down below. Give me your thoughts on, this whole Chick-fil-A racist thing, how the white cops did not have to pay for their orders, and how they made the black officer, he had to pay for his order. And this whole thing with, these young black men being found lynched throughout America. You know what I mean? And this has been going on all summer. You guys have to, pay attention, of your surroundings when you're traveling, because it's been going on too far, too long, and we need to put a stop to it. So definitely arm yourself, keep yourself protected when you're out and about alone, because apparently, they're picking on motherfuckers who's traveling by themselves, and that's how most cowards act. So, definitely, make sure that you arm yourself when you're heading out in certain situations, in certain, towns in certain states.
Yeah, you have to be very careful out here, especially women. You got to quit being trustworthy and believing that, people can change and yes, they can. But you have to keep your eyes on the prize these days and time. Just look at the statistics of how we're dropping. And we ain't talking about blacks killing blacks, because they'll publicize that all the time. But they ain't telling us about the whites that's killing whites. They hide that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well,
So,
they don't put their bad news pretty much, on mainstream media. They'll kind of cover it up, but and you can see that with the situations how they treat our people. When we commit a crime, they put everything that you've done up on the mainstream media, on the news. They'll put your whole background up, but when it's on the other hand, they pretty much won't talk bad or won't talk down on that person. They'll try to, make it seem like it was a mistake, or, they just really don't put out any information until they have to.
yeah, and that's just what it is. And like I said, as a people, until we learn to fight back and wake up, somebody asked me a question: are we better free than we was when we? What was the question they asked me? Is it better for us now than it was when we was enslaved?
Mm,
And I
that's a hell of a
said,
question.
I said, well, it has to be better now. He said, shit, tell me why.
And what was your
And that's a
response?
fact. That's a fact. Tell me why. And my response was, you right. Because they knocking us off like it ain't shit. And we supposed to be free, but we ain't free. We in a worse predicament than we was then. Because we got a lot of us that's brainwashed. Most of us fought with the motherfuckers who slaved us against the North. And didn't want to leave them. Didn't want to leave the South. After they was killing and raping our women, they still fought with them against the North. And them whiteys in the North hated us niggas for that. And they still do. Like, we trying to save you black asses and we don't want to save you. But you still got the nerves to try to fight and kill us. See,
Go ahead, my bad.
white privilege, man, is something else. We
Yeah,
better
you
wake
know,
up.
and I'm gonna be honest, Dave. Once we realize, once you know, the real people recognize, once the masses of us realize that we're living in a dominated society that's ruled by Caucasians, and things will never be equal when it comes to white and blacks. It's called race for a reason. And it means what race is going to dominate in this time period, and right now they're dominating, and we have to realize that it'll never be equal. You know what I mean? They're doing their jobs, by trying to keep their foot on our necks. It takes us to be able to change the situation. It's not, white folks are not going to change who they are. The only how they're going to change is if we force them to change, by the only thing they respect is money and blood, and that's real talk. All this marching and the singing and all that, they do not respect that. So only how, and you see what happened with the whole Target situation, withdrawing your money is one step of getting their attention. You know what I mean? So, but once the masses of us realize that, we'll never be treated equal as our counterparts, we have to continue building, like how we once built back in the Wall Street days. If we can get back to that mindset, and get out of trying to stay up under the wing of white society, because you have communities of white folks that's building communities for whites only. You know what I mean? They're trying to do the same thing, and we did a show on that, Dave. You have, and I believe they were down in Delaware, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that, but yeah, you have groups of them building that owns acres of land that's building communities, that's trying to move their people forward, and build their people back up, when those are the things that we did once before when they destroyed them. So if we get back to the mindset that we once have, Dave, and try to, get from up under, spending our money, and just start to spend our money towards rebuilding, our society, we'll be okay. And our officers, and what fucks me up, Dave, with that situation with the black officer, hopefully that was a wake-up call for him and a wake-up call for all the black officers out there that, I don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck about that uniform you got on. At the end of the day, you're still black. And that should have been a lesson learned to him, and it should be a lesson learned to, majority of the people that's out here thinking that, our counterparts is going to change on how they feel about us, and that's just real talk, Dave.
Well, the problem is we too forgiving. Whenever somebody can murder your family cold blood, and then you go into court and help the judge make his decision to let them get less time and almost let them go free, when you say, I forgive what they did to my loved one. Listen here, I ain't forgiving a damn thing. You killed my loved one. I ain't coming to court. I'm coming to court to try to see if I can get my hands on you. If I can't do that, I want your ass to fry. I ain't forgiving that. And that's the problem with us. We too goddamn geeky. We too goddamn friendly. Every time you look up, I forgive this, I forgive that. Listen, man.
Man,
All
that's the
that
first thing
shit.
our people say when it's a situation when our people have been murdered, in cold blood. I forget. Listen, just turn the other cheek. That's been that's been a weapon that's been used towards us since slavery. We've been going with this shit, but at the end of the day, man, once we, get back to how we used to think and get out of this mindset that, that we're going to be treated equal by our counter. Why would you think that you're going to be treated equal, by your counterparts? They're going to make sure that their people, everything is going to come first for them. You know what I mean? And then you may come second or third. You know, but yeah, man. You know, once we realize that we're not, you know, and I understand why our folks always think, you know, it's always going to listen. It's always white folks are always going to show who they are in certain situations. You know what I mean? And just like how they show with the situation with the cop and Chick-fil-A, you know, and just like with the situation we were just talking about when you just been finding black men all over the country hanging from trees. There's no excuse, you know, and there's no excuse why why you're finding black men hanging from trees other than, you know, motherfuckers been putting them and killing them and hanging who actually been hanging them from trees. Because like I said in the beginning, Dave, there's no black man that, you know, that I know of and maybe you can think of that even know how to tie a noose and able to hang themselves from a tree properly.
Like I said, we barely can tie a tie, man.
You know, so I just want to give me your last thoughts on that, Dave, and we can go on ahead and move on to something else. You know, it's Freestyle Friday. We have a few people, you know, that's watching the show. I need for you guys to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Give me your thoughts on, you know, this whole Chick-fil-A, this whole you know, what all these black men that's been found hanging from trees. You know, so Dave, give us your last words on the whole Chick-fil-A, you know, and this whole thing where we've been finding these black men hanging from trees throughout the country.
Well, all I can say about the whole thing, pay attention, black folks. That's the only way you're going to survive. You have to go in survival mode. You have to pay attention and understand what's going on, regardless if you like it or not. The order to protect you and your family, you have to pay attention and do what's right. And at the end of the day, the only way things are going to work is if you just understand what you're dealing with and just keep it moving. And that's real talk.
Yeah. You know, and yeah, man, I want to talk about something else too before I end the show, Dave. I was watching, you know, Willie D, you know, the other day, and you might have heard that too, but it sounds like your boy Diddy sent a letter to Trump trying to get, what do you call that? He's trying to get,
Pardon.
wow. Say that again,
Pardon.
Dave.
Pardon.
Yeah, he's trying to get that pardon from Diddy. So from what Willie D was saying, your boy Diddy may be home in 48 hours if Trump decides to pardon him. So what do you think about that situation?
Diddy ain't coming home, and Trump ain't gonna do shit. Everything Trump do is politicized, and it's for his peoples, man. You know, he ain't gonna do shit for Diddy, and I don't know why people wasting their time, man. Fuck that. Diddy, you'll be out of there in a couple years. At the end of the day, you got off light. You shouldn't even got that because they really never proved their case. But once again,
Right.
they show you who got the power and who don't. Once again, they got the power, we don't.
Exactly.
And that's what
You
it
know,
is.
so and it shows, you know, everything that we've been talking about today, you know, and even leading up to, you know, this whole Diddy situation, you know, no matter how much money you got, you know how much, no matter how famous you are or how many friends, you know, in high places, they're going to show you, you know, and they show Diddy, you know, what's going on. You know what I mean? He's locked up. They go, I mean, he lucky he didn't get that real time. You know, they gave him a few years, so he will be home. You know what I mean?
He'll
But
be
yeah,
home
you
sooner
know,
than what he'll be home sooner than what people think. With all the
right.
program, all the credit for the time served and all that, he probably do about 1.5 years.
Yeah,
But
you know, it was just a wake up call for Diddy. Like, look, nigga, stay in your place. You know what I mean?
what
Because
it
at the end of
was.
the day, you know, most of this shit comes from Diddy.
Well, you know what got Diddy in trouble? You know,
Yeah, well,
take that.
most of this shit comes from Diddy trying to file these lawsuits against the motherfuckers who actually made him rich. You know, with these
Yeah,
liquor companies,
and
you know, and that's where that shit is coming from.
once again, they say don't bite the hand that feeds you, nigga.
Exactly.
Once
Yeah.
again, when Bill Cosby pissed off them people, important people, they came and got his ass.
Yeah.
See, quit getting in bed with these white folks and thinking you can do what they do because you're their friend, supposedly. They're your friend because they want what you got. They want our swagger. They want everything. They want our melatonin. They want our melatonin.
Yeah.
They want our charisma. They want everything we got. So since they can't have it, they're gonna show us who runs shit. I don't give a damn about you being a billionaire. They show you every time. When they came and got Bill Cosby the way they came and got Bill Cosby the way they did it, they showed you
Yeah.
right then. I'll
You
get
know,
all of y'all.
and
Ain't
right. And
nothing.
at the end of the day, man, if you notice that's a pattern too. You know, at the end of the day, they'll lock these guys up, drain them. Both sides will get the money, far as Diddy paying for the lawyers, Cosby paid millions for his lawyers. You know what I mean? Everybody got paid at once, the money and everything. I'm not gonna say dried up, because Bill Cosby still has money, Diddy still gonna have some money, but once everybody was fed, Cosby was released. And the same thing is going to happen with Diddy. You know what I mean? So it's just all a money draw, at the end of the day, and to, let Diddy know, like, look, boy, stay in your place. So at the end of the day, I'm going to end it off on some good news, Dave. I believe next week we're going to have that Versus. And I did not know about that until this week, man. You got No Limit versus Cash Money. So tell
Yeah,
me
it's
what you
finally
think about
going
that,
down.
man.
It's finally going down. It's finally going down. Master P, one of the first $400 million producers, record company before anybody. You understand? And
Fact.
he did it. He didn't even he went to Michael Jackson lawyer and got that 25 deal. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? He said, no,
Hmm.
I don't want your deals or nothing. I'm gonna pay into this shit.
Right.
And he
So
got all
yeah,
his
man. So what the people want to know, Dave? Listen. I'm definitely a No Limit, fan, No Limit soldier. I love majority of all the artists that was signed to No Limit. But let me say this to you, man. I'm a hot boy. I love Cash Money. I think the Hot Boys was one of the best entertaining rap groups, in my era. I know a lot of people listen to, especially in Detroit, listen to them Hot Boys that Cash Money, and you had multiple people out of that
well,
group went on to have great
well,
solo careers. But go ahead, Dave.
what really put Cash Money when they finally took over? See, Master P and them started and they was running this shit for years, and then Cash Money came and then they took over, with them young boys, Turk, Wayne, BG, Juvenile, Manny. But here's the thing. Juvenile put them on the map with that 400 degrees. At that 400 degrees drop, it wasn't stop. Nothing was stopping them.
Man, you hit it on the nose, but don't.
Nothing.
Juvie
Come
put
on.
them on the map, but
Riding on 20s is
BG
the law
definitely.
for us. They just said riding on 20s is the law for us. They say
First,
that
right.
there.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, man. That's why I say this Versus is gonna be, listen, Cash Money don't put out some hits. No Limit don't definitely put out hits. You know what I mean? Master P, like you even said, for at one point, they had the game locked up. So you definitely have a lot
No
of
limit
artists.
ain't locked up.
My question to you, Dave, do you think Snoop is going to be involved in this No Limit thing? You think he's going to come out and perform with the boys?
Well, he was part of them. They paid a lot of money to get Snoop to come over there and shit.
Yeah.
Snoop gave them some platinum albums. And that last album, when he said, this is the last meal, shit, that album went triple platinum, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
So of course he might come out and perform with them. Of course, because he was part of them at one time. Too bad dumbass Mystical can't keep his raping ass out of jail. It's
Well, he's
just I
back
don't know
out
what's
now,
wrong
so
with
he's definitely going to be part of the show. And then, listen, he's
him. Man,
been part of both sides, No Limit and Cash Money. You know what I
well,
mean?
tell you something. Like I said, everybody had their run. Cash Money took over in the end. You know, when they came to the scene wearing the motherfucking diamonds and chains the way they was wearing it and coming in a group like that, motherfuckers was looking. And like I said, after 400 Degrees, man, and then that's when Wayne just started coming out with the Carters. And when
Yeah,
that
man. So my
man,
question to you, Dave, out of both record companies, out of both labels, who do you think put out the most hits from both sides, I should say? Well, it looked like you went out again, Dave. We probably still can hear you, but your picture went out.
Yeah, the Wi-Fi bars keep going up and down, so they weak
Okay.
for some reason right now, and it always
Yeah,
do
mine
this.
been doing the same thing too all night.
Yeah, but put it like this, man, that's a hard one because in the beginning, P and them put the most hits out, but in the
Yeah, hey,
end,
listen, they
Cash
was putting
Money.
hit after hit, artist after
Yeah, man.
artist out.
Listen. But in the end, Cash Money took over.
They
They
did.
took over because see, Wayne, after Juvie went hard, then Manny started coming hard. Then they just they made Big Timers. They started making the Big Timer album. All that was hits. Then you had Lil Wayne start doing the Carter albums, and then he just took off as the star of his own. It became one of the biggest lyricists
Yeah,
with the
out of the
wordplay
group,
ever.
because at one point, Juvie was running the group, but yeah, Lil Wayne came out of his own, came on to be one of the biggest artists out here. You know what I mean?
Right. When Wayne went there, man, they back at this time, No Limit couldn't fuck with it. When they went on that
At
level,
all.
they couldn't fuck with it. Because they just went on another level after that. You know what I'm saying? And then they turn around later. They go get Nicki Minaj. They turn around and go get this
Right.
motherfucker Drake. You know what I'm saying? They
Man, you
just
hit it right there on the nose. So look, and I'm gonna ask the people that look, and I want you guys' opinion. Who you think put out the most hits? Who you think is gonna win this versus between Cash Money and Low Limit? And I'm gonna give my answer, Dave. Like I said, I like both groups, but I definitely think Cash Money put out more hits. They definitely, and I'm not gonna say that No Limit didn't change the culture, but Cash Money definitely changed the culture with that bling bling. When BG came out with that, they
bling
was on fire.
bling.
Juvie already had set it on fire.
Yeah, when they came out with that bling bling.
Right.
You know
That
what I'm
set the world
saying?
on fire, man.
Man, listen, bro. Listen, man. And you seen when Missy Elliott and even them came with that song, Hot Boys. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
Them
Hmm.
niggas was hot at that time. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day,
On
they took, like I
fire.
said, P started it. Cash Money took over in the end. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it is. I mean, come on, man. Big time as a motherfucker said. My mama ain't no hoe. My daddy ain't no hoe. My sister ain't no hoe. Why you trying to play
Ain't
me
no
like a
home.
hoe? I
No
got
home. Right.
tell them about that new Benz
Yeah.
on Chrome I got. Tell them, you know what I'm saying? Come on, man.
Right. Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
cannot ignore Mystical. That
And no, you can't listen. You
motherfucker.
can't ignore Mitchell. But listen, before you jump to Mystical,
Man,
let's get back to
listen,
Juvie. Listen, Juvie himself probably can go hit for hit with motherfucking Cash. I mean, with No Limit.
man, listen,
You heard me?
bro, listen. Hey,
My shit was Now you a room with a and bitch don't want to fuck like a man. I'm gonna beat my shit and get my fucking nut for sure. She gonna be drove then. I'm gonna cut the
hey,
Stevie off and go to
listen,
sleep on that hoe then.
listen,
You
man.
tell her everything you like.
Hey,
Yo,
when
Juvie
that
was a motherfucker.
motherfucker, hey, when that nigga came out with the very first, I never forget, man. I'm gonna tell you this story. I was big nigga, had a lot of bread. When we had Damon Records over here on Plymouth, in Detroit. And I remember when they first came out, I pulled up in there. I said, let me go in here and see what new CDs they got. You know, always check out the new releases, you know, because at this time you wasn't buying them from, you know, Circuit City before it was Best Buy and all that stuff. You were in Targets and Kmart. You weren't buying CDs from them. You was going to the local record shops.
Right.
And so Damon's was a well-known local record shop. I went in there and I bought 2 of them, and I never forget. I whipped up on my dog, and I said, "Nigga, I'm gonna catch up with you later, but here, throw this in your ride and listen to this, man." I said, "This shit fire." And he looked at the motherfucking. I never forget. He looked at the motherfucking the CD cover, and he said, "Man, I ain't giving these country niggas no play." All I know is a couple hours later, when me and him was meeting back up, man, that nigga pulled up. We both pulled up, bumping that shit at the same time.
Right. Yeah.
That just lets you know.
Listen, the first time
That lets you know,
started
bro.
listening to the Hot Boys, I was hooked. I'm like, damn. I'm like, I barely can understand what these niggas saying, but that shit.
But let me tell you something. That motherfucking Mystical and that goddamn Silk the Shocker.
Right.
That ain't my fault.
Right.
Let me peel the potato. Man, listen. Don't let me peel the potato. That nigga Mystical.
Listen, that's why I said, man, it's gonna be hard because, like I said, Mystical been on both sides, but he put out most of his hits with No Limit.
Man, listen, that motherfucking Mystical, bow-legged, crazy-looking ass. That Mystical motherfucker, bro, verse on It Ain't My Fault. That motherfucker See Murder. That motherfucker Silk the Shocker. But we can't forget about Me X.
Right. Oh man, you definitely can't.
You can't forget about Me X.
Listen, that's one thing that Cash Money. Oh, but you know
Did
what?
not
I take
have.
that back. Nicki Minaj.
No, that was late. Nicki came later.
Right.
Mia X was out right after MC Light and them.
Yeah. No, don't get it. Listen, Mia X held her own. You know, back then with all the female rappers. You know what I mean? And she still can hold her own. But yeah, you know, listen, it's gonna be a
when
hard.
Mystical went solo, Tarantula.
Right.
Man, that nigga had hit after hit after hit. The only thing to slow his dumb ass down, he got a problem when it comes with them damn females, man. For some reason, he feel he got to beat them up and take it.
Yeah. You know, and that's a sad situation. You know, hopefully he's out. Well, he's out now. You know, he's been doing stuff with Manny Fresh. Hopefully get together. You know, but man, it's definitely going to be a battle. You know, like I said, I like both groups, but at the end of the day, you know, to me, I think Cash Money, you know, put out more hits. You know, and was more entertaining. You know, at the end of the day, you know, and Cash Money is still going. It speak, you know, listen, it speaks for itself. Cash Money still has
No Limit
like
been
Lil
done.
Wayne, who's still out there in juvie. You know, I think No Limit has no one as of right now that's still touring or
No Limit. No Limit is over. Like I said, they was the ones who put it on the map. They started it. They were the ones, but like I said, in the end, Cash Money came and took that over, man. You know, they just
fact.
Yeah, they just started.
And I'm gonna say this, you know, in No Limit's defense, it probably would have not been a Cash Money, you know,
if it wasn't for No Limit.
No Limit. Yeah.
Let me tell you something.
You know,
Go DJ. It's my DJ.
Tell me if you can hear this, Dave.
Hey, listen, man.
This was one of my favorite songs. Cause our pockets be hurt.
Come on, man.
I don't want to be motherfucking copywritten, but that was my shit.
Hey, listen, Manny Fresh.
Hey,
listen, Manny Fresh and no motherfucking
and then give everybody your last thoughts. You know, let everybody know where they can reach you and what you got going on.
Yeah, it's Real Talk with Big Dave. That's Real Talk with WIT Big Dave. I'm on YouTube. Make sure y'all subscribe to my channel. It's free. It don't cost a dime. I'm putting real good content out here, and I got a lot of guests coming on. We're gonna set the world on fire. Just pay attention. And you can get me on Instagram and TikTok with Real Talk with Big Dave, and on Facebook, I'm Big Dave Crawford.
But yeah, man. So at the end of the day, Dave, before I let you go, I don't know if I asked you, I don't know if you answered, give everybody your thoughts on who you think is gonna win this versus battle.
Like I said, it's a tight one for me, and I really can't tell you. It's gonna be tight because, like I said, No Limit. You cannot ignore the hits that started, but you cannot ignore how Cash Money took over and still going strong today. So it's gonna be a hard one, man. It's gonna be a hard one. If Cash Money pull it out, it's because the Jeopardy stayed with them.
Right. Yep. And at the end of the day, man, like I said, Master P, he put together a powerhouse team, and what he did, I don't think no other record label will be able to do. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, they set the stage for Cash Money to be able to come in and do what they did. I believe every single one of their artists is went on, well I'll say the Hot Boys went on to have great single careers, so it's going to make for a great competition. Hopefully we'll see majority of all the all the Hot Boys should be there, all Cash Money should be there. You have a few members of No Limit that's not here with us. One of my favorite artists is Soldier Slim. He won't be able to attend because he's not here. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a great show. I think this will probably be the best verses that we've probably seen thus far. It's going to be very entertaining. You know what I mean? My only thing is they put it on a Friday on the work day. So, they're going to have a whole plant rocking that day. But look, man, I want to thank you again, Dave, for coming on the show, man, giving everybody your opinion, giving everybody your thoughts. And it's been a pleasure, and I need for you guys to make sure that you go over there to YouTube and subscribe to Real Talk WIT with Big Dave. It's definitely going to be a great birthday gift for him, for you guys to be able to go over there and subscribe to his channel. So make sure that you do that. But yeah, man, I don't have anything else to add. It's been a great one. It's been a good Freestyle Friday. We chopped it up. Hopefully we covered a few things, and you guys definitely need to make sure you're watching your surroundings, when you're out here traveling, because this shit is real. We've been finding black men, young and old, coming up hung, and like I said, at the end of the day, that's something that black men really don't do, is hang themselves from a tree, when committing suicide. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, it's another one. It's your boy Dame D, and I am out.
Peace.
Peace.